Hi everybody, welcome to another fringe and free Learn Macrame video. Today we're making a very easy beginner friendly macrame wall hanging. To get started, I recommend having some sort of a garment rack like this and some S-hooks. You can get these from different places. I got my garment rack from Target and my S-hooks are from Walmart in the closet section. These are called closet S-hooks. And then we need a wooden dowel. This is the fringe and free wooden dowel, just cut in half to be 6 inches. And then we need 10 pieces of macrame cord cut to 5 feet each. I'm using our fringe and free 4mm macrame cord, and this is a 4-ply cord. I really love using this cord, and it's going to be good for this wall hanging, you'll see at the end. But if you want to do a single ply, totally fine, or a 3-ply is totally fine too. First, we're going to take our one of our 5-foot cords. We're going to find the middle point, make a loop, and we're just going to add all of them to the dowel using a lark's head knot. A lark's head knot is really just putting the loop in the back, stringing the ends through the loop, and then pulling. Another way that you can do the lark's head knot, it's a little bit easier in my opinion, is to put your fingers like this, twist together. Now you've made a loop, and just string that on. If you're working with really long string, really long pieces of cord, this one is much easier, but if that confuses you, just go back to the other way. So fingers go through the loop, twist together, just like that. Just string all of the cord onto your dowel. Now we're just going to straighten them all out, try to even them out. I'm going to put one thumb on each side, kind of make sure it's pretty even. Now we're ready to do the next knot. We're going to do a square knot. You're going to take the first 4 strands, and you're going to take strand number 1, put it on top. Next, you're going to put strand number 4 on top of that one. Then it's going to go behind all of them, and you're going to pull it through this hole. That's part 1 of the square knot. Now we're going to do part 2, which is the opposite. Strand number 4 goes first, then number 1 goes on top of it, behind all of them, and through the hole. Now we take the next 4 strands and do another square knot. We're going to do this first row of 5 square knots. Next, we're going to do a row of 4 square knots. We're going to do the same thing, but first take the first 2 strands and toss them aside, and then take the next 4 strands. So we have 2 from the first square knot, 2 from the second square knot. We're just going to tie another square knot. What we're making is an alternating square knot pattern. That's the term for that. So now just take the next 4 strands, tie a square knot, until you have a total of 4 square knots where the first 2 strands and the last 2 strands are not knotted. So now we're going to keep going. The next row only has 3, so we're going to skip the first 4. We're going to take 2 and 2. This time we're just tying a row of 3 knots. If this is your first time tying a square knot, just be patient with yourself. Once you got it, you got it. It may take a minute or 2 or 10 to feel comfortable with it. Soon your hands will do it for you and you just won't even be thinking about it. Okay, now with the 4th row, there's only going to be 2 square knots. So forget about those first 6. Take 2 and 2. This 4th row. It's really fast. So notice these filler cords, sometimes they get a little loose, so you can just gently pull those taut. And then our next row is just 1, taking 2 and 2. Okay, so now we're just going to build it back out. So we're going to start from here. We're going to do a row of 2. The next row is 3, 4, 5. And it's going to start to make another, it's going to be a triangle, but really we're going to make a full diamond. So just go slow here. Make sure you're working from the middle one. We're just going to do the opposite of what we were doing. We're going to make a row. We're going to use 2 from this knot and then 2, just the next 2 strands. And we're going to make a square knot. Keep these filler cords tight. And you want this to stay horizontal. It's easy to tie it too tight and then it starts to be more angular. We don't want that to happen. So I'm making sure this is horizontal because the inclination is to do this, and now that just doesn't look good at all. So we're just gonna be mindful, go slow, keep this horizontal. Horizontal, now we have 2 gaps right here, which is what we want. Now go ahead and do that middle knot, so it's 2 from this one, 2 from that one. Make sure we're starting in the middle. Be sure to check the middle frequently because it's easy to get off and to okay, so now we're going to take those 4. Next is our row of 4, and you can constantly be checking to make sure, okay, we have 4 and 4. That's great. These are in the middle. The pattern is going well. You could start in the middle. You could start on the side. Do whatever works better for your mind. Okay, so now we have a row of 4. Finally, we're just going to do the next row of 5. And we'll coast in this next part. So notice these cords, these strands are pretty straight. That's good. The wall hanging will have some give to it, so if you need to adjust it as you go, it does have some grace. So if you need to like make it more, like pull it out to make those a little bit more straight, you can do that. Okay, we just have our last square knot for this row. And then we're just going to repeat what we did earlier, where earlier we started with a row of 5 and we went down. We're starting with a row of 5 and we're gonna go down again to complete this diamond. All right, I went ahead and tied the rest of these knots. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And so we have this triangle and then this diamond, and we are ready for the next step. Go ahead and adjust it however you need to. Now it's time to trim our ends. So go ahead and get your pair of scissors. And there are 2 different ways that you can go ahead and do this next part. We're going to cut it about 5 inches down. And so you can get your measuring tape and you can like measure out 5 inches. Or something I like to do is just kind of go up, take the 2 middle cords, strands, or you could just take one and go up. It's about like right before the strand crosses the dowel. It's right about there, so you could just cut that, or feel free to measure. And so now we're just going to take that these two should be the same length. So I'm going to use that first strand as my guide. So to cut the rest of them, in order to get a angled bottom, we're going to follow these lines. So either take your fingers and make your fingers parallel to that line and go all the way down, and then cut at that angle, or go ahead and measure each one with your measuring tape. We're going to keep all of these. Go ahead and take the longest one, which is probably going to be like very first strand. Go ahead and take, actually it's going to be that second one. Whichever one is longest, grab that one, put that one aside. We're about to use that cord. Go ahead and do the same. Trim the opposite side. And just make sure you're okay with how it turned out. I like it, I'm okay with that. So you could be done with this part. Something I like to do is I like to unravel the ends. So since this is a 4-ply, that means there are 4 sections of single strand string that make up this 4mm cord. That just means that I can unravel it and it's gonna make a really pretty wavy look. And so how I do that is I work one by one. I find that middle point, I hold that, and then I just untwist that bottom and then carefully just release those waves and let it go. And then I just work one by one to give that extra texture. Okay, so my bottoms are unraveled. I have lots of fun texture. Now I'm gonna grab that strand that we cut earlier and that we set aside, And I'm going to unravel it so that I get just one of those pieces. And I took the longest one. It can get kind of crazy as you're unraveling it. What I do is I just get one out and I hold it like this. Then I just pull. It's gonna get crazy. Just keep going. Then we have your one, and then you can just put the other piece aside. And then I'm just gonna work with this one. What I'm gonna do is tie, this is gonna be the string that you can use to hang your wall hanging from. You could hang this from the dowel itself. A lot of my pieces I do just hang from the dowel itself. You'll put a nice skinny thin nail and you'll just put it like right here in the middle and work with it to make it nice and straight. Or if you want to have a hanging string, that's what we're going to add right now. So I'm just going to tie some knots to this end, and then you can do whatever knot you feel comfortable with. I'm doing a double half hitch knot. I'll show you what that is, but I won't get into that knot in this video. Just do whatever knot you feel comfortable with. Okay, once you have it on tightly, what I like to do is follow this down and then up, and that's how I gauge like what length that hanging cord is going to be, because when it's up, I think it's making another diamond. I like that ratio personally, but make this, you know, whatever length you want. I'm just going to use that to help me. I'm just going to tie another knot. Okay, I've made both of those nice and tight. Now I'm just gonna trim these little pieces. And adjust these up. Now we have that string, and so I hope you can kind of see what I was talking about, where we have a diamond here and now we have a diamond here. I just think those ratios look really nice, and she's all done. So cute. This would make a really great piece, like if you have a gallery wall and you want to add just some warmth and texture to your wall. If you wanted to make this in a few different colors, it could create its own gallery wall. This would be a fun project to do. Maybe if you had some girlfriends in the dorm and you all just wanted to make some fun matching wall hangings, or I have this personally in my son's room. I think it makes great baby room decor. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember that you can buy macrame supplies from fringeandfree.com, and we have a blog. It's called Learn Macrame. Be sure to check that out and see some more fun, easy DIY macrame projects. Thanks.